Hello again and welcome to another Mordian Glory Battle Report, and today guys I've got something really exciting to bring you. We have got our first bolt action battle report for the channel. It is 1944, Italy has been knocked out of the war, but the Germans are still holding the northern part of the country, and today the Royal Marine Commandos are going to try and find a gap in the lines. It's going to be 1,000 points, the mission is going to be Demolition, and we're playing on this superb custom terrain table built by my very good friend James. So without further ado, let's crack on and take a look at what we're playing with today. So I just want to make a really big deal out of this terrain. James and I got into action about the same time, about 3 months ago, and whilst I have been furiously painting up Germans badly, he has been furiously putting together this fantastic terrain for us to play on. And this is one of the things I wanted to mention in this battle report. It's like I wanted to highlight that unlike 40k, where often the terrain can feel quite similar, quite cookie cutter, you've got to have things in the same place and you've got to have loads of line of sight blocking stuff, and things have got to almost look unrealistic. I mean, I know it's a game of toy soldiers in space, but you guys know what I mean. With bolt action, you can really unleash those creative juices. You can absolutely just put together a board and a terrain map that might not necessarily be balanced, but just looks fantastic. So we've got like the sort of landing area here, we've got a cool bridge, barricades, checkpoint, all this kind of good stuff. Got a little bar up here, absolutely fantastic. And so I just wanted to make a big deal out of this because James has been spending a lot of time putting terrain together, and he's definitely our terrain expert in our sort of bolt action group. So I just wanted to give him the sort of the highlight that he deserves. So absolutely fantastic, James. Thank you for putting this all together, and I think it's going to be an absolute pleasure to play on. So I just wanted to highlight that, but now we'll get into the mission and we will get into the armies as well. So here we have the Royal Marine Commandos. It's 1,000 points. It's a regular old reinforced platoon, and there are 9 order dice. And James is going to take us through what he's got in his list first. So where are we starting?
So start with the officer. He's a second lieutenant, and he has a man.
Excellent.
Armed as seen, and he can activate 2 units as well as himself.
Excellent.
Next unit, we've got the naval officer, and he can call in a naval bombardment from the sea, and that is an artillery bombardment, but instead of its usual as it rules in the books, it is from the Normandy book, Overlord book, and he can then do d6 plus 9.
Also, he's a naval observer,
Naval
isn't he?
observer,
yeah. So he's upgraded over the free artillery observer.
Yeah, so he's one of my only infantry that is a regular unit.
Okay, everyone else is veteran, isn't it? Almost everyone. Yeah. Okay, where next?
Next, we've got 2 squads of 7. The front one is armed with rifles and SMGs.
Excellent.
The one behind has 1 Vickers K, the VGO.
Oh yeah.
Which allows you 5 LMG shots as opposed to the regular 4.
Yeah.
And then I've got 2 squads of 5, both with 2 Vickers Ks in there.
Very good. Okay, I always make a bit of a joke about James basically being able to pay 5 points extra per LMG to get the German trait, because normally an LMG only gets 4 shots. German LMGs get 5 shots for free, and then these Marine ones also get 5 shots for an extra 5 points. So that's pretty good. Loving the LMG support squads there. Where are we going next?
Over to the snipers, sniper pair. In a reinforced platoon, it's 1 sniper rifle with a scope, and the spot has a pistol, and that's it. Excellent.
Loving those ghillie suits. Going to get a little zoom in on there. Very good.
And last but not least is the armour support. You've got the PAT team standard and the Centaur CS close support tank, used by Royal Marine Armour Support Group in the 1940s. It is a cruiser tank with a medium howitzer and coaxial machine gun.
Excellent. So this is a bit of an interesting vehicle because as a German player we often get a coax, but we also get a hull machine gun. But this one essentially, it has 2 guns, but it can only choose to fire one of them a turn. So sometimes you'll want to launch that howitzer, and sometimes you'll just want to pepper someone up nicely and guarantee you're going to get like a hit with that medium machine gun. So it's a really interesting tank. So that's really cool army, James. Really love the sort of the fluff and everything you've put into this. We came up with a name for your officer before, didn't we? And we're gonna try and be a bit more narrative with our bolt action game. So this is, would you want to tell us who this is?
This is Second Lieutenant Reginald Lane.
Excellent. But he often calls himself Captain because he drives the landing craft. Excellent. So that's 1,000 points. It's 9 dice. It's a nice mix of units. We've got some anti-tank in there with the Piat. And obviously the medium howitzer can be a bit of soft anti-tank. The naval observer is always terrifying. Sometimes he does loads, sometimes he doesn't do very much, but it will be great to see what he does today. And those ghillie snipers are always a fantastic unit to see on the field. So that is the Royal Marine Commandos. Let's see who they're facing off against today. So here we have the German army that I'm using today. James has very kindly lent me his Germans because mine all have trench coats, and it doesn't really make sense to have a bunch of winter Germans running around in nice sunny Italy. So we decided I'd use his Germans today, but it's a very similar army to what I would be running anyway. So this is, again, a reinforced platoon, nothing too fancy here, and it is also 9 order dice, so nice and equals pequals. The German traits is fixed, unlike the British ones, where I think, James, you chose tough as old boots, didn't you, which gets you extra attacks. The German ones are fixed, so I get an extra shot on my machine guns, and my officers are a little bit better and stuff like that. We'll go through those rules as and when they pop up in the game. So I have started off with a nice solid core of infantry. I like to take lots of regulars with a smattering of veterans, so that's what I've got here. So I've got these first 4 squads at the front. They are all regular German Grenadiers. This first one here has got 3 STGs, 1 on the NCO, a light machine gun, a Panzerfaust and a rifleman. And then we've got another squad identical to that. And then we've got a third squad which is almost identical, but it's just lacking 1 of those STGs. So it's only got 2 rather than 3. And then finally, the 4th squad has just got the 3 STGs. It's got an extra bloke in there, and there's no light machine gun in there. So we've got sort of 3 nice balanced squads, bit of machine guns, bit of a STG going on there, Panzerfaust in case that tank decides to have a Barney. And then over here, we've got a more mobile squad without the light machine gun, an extra guy. At the back, we've got a unit of 8 veterans, and all of these guys have got MP40s. They've all got submachine guns, so that's a really nice squad that can just drive around, jump out of a transport, which I happen to have, and then they just hose down the enemy at point blank range. And I love doing that with my veterans, and so I'm really glad that James has got plenty of submachine guns to let me do that. Then I've got a medium machine gun team. You can't really go wrong with a medium machine gun team. It's a nice cheap extra order dice in the bag, and with Germans you get an extra shot out of it, so that's really good. It's got 6 shots. I've got a second lieutenant, and he's got an STG, and his man has got a submachine gun because that's what they're modelled with. And then we've got a standard half-track Hanomag, 1 medium machine gun, nothing too fancy about that. And then we've got a Panzer IV, and this is a late war Panzer IV, and so it has got the heavy anti-tank gun, and I have paid for the Schützen, or the side skirts, which means that it gets a little bit of extra defence against that Piat, because normally Piats are really good at popping German tanks, but with those side skirts, I get to sort of negate that slightly. Again, we'll get into that rule as and when it pops up in the game. So there we go. That's 1,000 points of Germans holding the line in Italy, and let's see what we're doing today. So today, guys, we are doing Demolition, which is scenario 6 of the main bolt action rulebook. That is on page 139 for those of you that want to find this mission quickly. Demolition is a really fun mission. It's one of James's and I's favourites. Essentially, guys, I'm not going to go through the full details of it, but so if you want to read it line by line, please pause the video now and read that. But essentially, we both have a base, and you have to pick something on the board that you want to be your base, and it's got to be in your deployment zone. And then essentially, both players are trying to blow up the other one's base whilst defending their own. And it's a really cool little mission. Sometimes it can end very quickly, but I really like it because it's a really good sort of easy one for sort of newer players to grasp. But it's also a lot of fun for if you're an experienced bolt action player, because you sort of know the ebbs and flows of how the game's going to go. There's no preparatory bombardment with this game. We thought we'd keep it simple. The Marines are sort of originally coming in a bit silent, but they have obviously been spotted by the Germans at the start of the game. And there are 6 turns, but it could go on a bit further. So those of you familiar with old 40k missions, at the end of turn 6 you roll a dice, and on a 4+, the game goes on an extra turn. So that's really, really cool. Now, the way the game ends is if you, as the enemy, hold your opponent's base at the end of that turn, then you blow the base up, you set the demo charges, you blow it up, and you win the game. And if no one holds anyone's base by the end of turn 6 or potentially turn 7, then it's a draw. It's very simple. And so what we've gone for today, we've already sort of set the board up, and we've already picked out where the bases are going to be. So it's Dawn of War deployment for those that are familiar with that, and basically this is going to be the base for the Royal Marine Commandos. So what we have imagined has happened is the Marines have come in on their landing craft and they've taken out the coastal defences. There's an anti-tank gun there, there's a flak gun, there's a howitzer facing out there. They've taken out some sort of coastal or river defences, and now the Germans are aware they need to regain those defences before the Marines are able to bring in any more reinforcements. So that's the base of the Royal Marine Commandos, and that's why the Germans want to take it back. And then if we sweep along over here, what we have for the Germans is this big radio tower. You've got to have that as an objective. Look at that beast. So obviously the Royal Marine Commandos want to take control of that radio tower, not only to secure their own lines of communication, but to deny the Germans the abilities to keep bringing in loads of reinforcements, because at the end of 6 or 7 turns maybe the Germans will have loads of panzers and stuff turning up, so they want to stop that as quickly as possible. Obviously, if it was in terms of it being a draw, if no one holds anyone's base, then what you can imagine is that the Marines keep getting to bring people in from their landing from their beachhead, and the Germans will keep bringing people in using their radio, so that's why it would be a draw. So there we go. It's all about the Marines trying to secure their beachhead and take out the Germans' communications, and the Germans are trying to counterattack with what force they've got in the local area and push the Marines back into the sea. We'll drive them into the sea. So that is the mission. That is the map, that's the bases, that's absolutely everything, that's the armies. What we're going to do now is we're going to start putting some dice in the bag and doing our deployment. So the Germans and the Marines have finished their deployment now. Now how you deploy about actions, you put sort of dice in the bag and you pull them out one at a time. But rather than watching us do that, we've just done all the deployment already. It was actually fairly equal deployment. It went down sort of one at a time. But the Marines did actually have a bit of a flurry in the middle, which have allowed the Germans to counter-deploy slightly with their armour. But you'll see that in a moment. So over here, we have a unit with an LMG, and the LMG is poking around this corner here. It's got a good line of sight on the Marines base there. Can start getting some fire spraying in there if needed. And then we've got some of the Panzerfaust and the other bits around this corner here. We've got the no LMG squad here, the sort of more mobile assault squad, and they're acting more of an attack or maybe even counter-attack force slightly behind the lines. We've got the officer in a nice central position where he can give his leadership buff out to whoever needs it. And then we've got another LMG squad next to him, and that LMG is covering a really good angle down that road. Any Marines that break cover across the open ground are going to get a taste of Hitler's buzzsaw there. Likewise, we've got another LMG squad there, a couple of marksmen on the roof, Panzerfaust ready around the corner as well. So again, if any any Marines try and break cover across here, we've got a nice sort of interlocking fire. We've then got the Panzer IV, and I really wanted this unit to lock down this flank. This is my base. It needs strong defence. The Marines are very much an aggressive force, so we've put the Panzer IV down there, partly because one of the first units I put down was this machine gun team. I know it's sniper bait. It can, without snipers, a machine gun team can do quite a good job of holding down a flank, but James has counter-deployed with his snipers, as we'll see. So if that unit had gone, this flank would have been open, so the Germans deployed their armour assets here. And that helped lock down the flank and also counter the Marine armour, which we'll see in a second. That's the German deployment. Moving on to the Marines, we've got the sniper team who are forward deployed. They counter-deployed the machine gun, so if they get first turn, they very well may pick up that machine gun in one go because of the exceptional damage rule. And then we've got the armoured asset. This is the Centaur CS, is it?
Yep.
Yeah. And as you can see, my Panzer IV has got very much a bead on that Centaur. It will get cover, obviously. It's not a clean shot, but that's how I counter-deployed with my armour in terms of when the dice came out. We've then got a big old block of Marine Commandos here. We've got a machine gun squad, and we've got a Piat helping to counter that Panzer, and we've got another big squad here with a Vickers K as well, poking around the corner, able to hose down any Jerrys that show themselves. And of course we've got an officer here as well. That's Reginald, Captain, Second Lieutenant Reginald, leading his forces on this flank attack, going for the German base. And then we've got a bit of a gap here, nothing deployed over here, and then we get to the base. So what we've got here, defending the base, is a Vickers K team, so 2 Vickers Ks in there, good bit of defence. We've got the Naval Observer as well. And then me and James, we were like, well, we didn't want this water to become like a really bad bit of his deployment zone. So what we've said is this landing craft has come in, the ramp's going to go down, and then by the time the Marines get out here, it's just going to be a nice bit of shallow water. You know, a bit of water that's not going to slow the Marines down. So that's deployment. That's where everything is. Nice sort of even spread. We've got half the Marines on an attack, half the Marines on a defence. Both sides have got a little bit of reserve. So the Germans have got a Hanomag with the veterans in it in reserve, and the Marines have got a single just sort of rifle SMG squad in reserve as well. Yeah?
Yeah.
That's correct. Awesome. So there we go. That is the deployment for both sides. Now let's put some dice in the bag and see who's going to get the first dice. So here we are, beginning of turn 1. There's no preparatory bombardment or anything like that. So James is going to be bag man for this game because obviously I'm doing the old camera work. So we've given it a good shake.
Good shake.
He's trying to feel the right corners for his dice.
It is me.
It is a Marine dice. Show us the dice. So James will be using these sort of green and light green ones, and I've got the German grey ones. There we go. So the Commandos are going to take the initiative. So what we're going to do is we're going to sort of record the first few dice, and then we'll wrap the rest of the turn up off camera, so you guys don't have to watch every single dice roll that we do. Now, James, what is the first thing that you're going to do? We're doing it live.
I am going to order my sniper team to fire, and they're going to fire on your machine gun team.
Excellent, go for it. The great thing about this is I don't need to worry about having dice on me for armor saves. You just get to kill me, James. That's just how it works.
It's a single shot using this scope. If he was closer than 12 inches, he'd miss automatically.
But he's obviously not.
You are in range, and on a 3+, I will hit you.
You will hit me. Here we go.
On a 2.
Good old sniper. Good old sniper.
Good old swing and a miss.
Sniper-oo. There he goes. So that's the first dice. That's nice and quick. Pull another dice, James. I'm kind of hoping you're going to get a few green ones so I can do lots of recording. Excellent. Right, another green one for the old Commandos. Do you know what you're going to do now?
Not really, but I'm going to fire my tank.
If you need a moment to think, we can pause. It's not that live if you need it.
I'm going to fire my tank at your tank.
Oh, okay, okay. So he's just doing... There's no movement here. He's going to see if he is in range. He should be. It's like a 60-inch range. At least a 60-inch range. But are you over half range?
Yes.
I think you are. Right, so you're over half range. Which means you'll be -1 to hit. Yeah. And I will be probably in heavy cover there because there's a big wall, and then there's this thing as well.
So 6s?
So it's going to be 6 to hit.
Here we go. No.
No, not quite. So the round goes wide. We'll put a little bit of smoke down to show where that round ends up. But unfortunately, it's not actual proper smoke. It's just for a bit of effect. So maybe it was pretty close. So I think, yeah, I'd say sort of it just maybe impacted off the front of the wall or the building or something. It doesn't quite get a hit. So there we go. Right, we'll do another dice. And we'll see what it is.
It's the Germans.
It is the Germans. Okay, so that's quite interesting. Because obviously the Germans have, you know, the two main threats over here have been. So the smart thing to do would be to do something not over there. But we're not going to be smart. We're going to have a bit of fun. So I am going to put my machine gun on fire, and then I think I'm going to fire it at your guy that's poking his head around the corner there. So that's a squad. So you'll be getting heavy cover from that. So I should be in range. Do you want to check the range for me there, James, just because you've got the tape measure? I should be in range. I know I probably could. Should I go for the... I can't pre-measure, obviously. I've said I'm going to do that, so that's what I'm going to do. No take-backs. The order has been issued. I must be strict with myself. So I'm in range.
You are in range.
36 in range, but it's I'm within 30. So it's 6 dice for me. If I could have 6 of your German dice. Jay's been a very good host today. He's provided the terrain, he's provided the army, he's provided the faction dice. He's been very good. Rolling left-handed, so obviously I'm going to get no hits. So it should be long range, heavy cover. So that should be 6s. I get a hit. That cheeky one over there. So we've got 1 hit. So at least I get a pin on you. You're a veteran across the board, I'm assuming. Yeah. So I need to see if I can get a 5 on this dice. I do. I get a 6. So someone has died. We've drawn first blood. Now I'm going to see if I can get to pick who dies, James. Because we've got another 6. It's going to be that Vickers K. I'm telling you now. Because even though the Sarge was the better choice, I hate Vickers Ks. Yeah. Hey! It's going to be one of those games. So the Vickers K is gone. which is obviously really good news, and there's a pin on that. I mean, you could argue taking the sergeant's better because you could fail orders, but you've got your captain / second lieutenant there. So it probably wouldn't make a big difference to that. So that is the German dice shot. Very nice bit of success there. Now let us see what the next dice is going to be.
British dice.
British dice. Okay, so we'll do this dice, unless James needs a little think, and then we'll come back at the end of the turn, because we've seen a bit of fire in there. We've seen someone's died. That's a pretty good, exciting bit, but we'll see what James wants to do next.
I'm going to do my naval observer.
Okay.
He's going to call in his bombardment.
Okay.
And he's going to call it in here.
Okay, you can definitely see. So it's how the naval bombardment works. For anyone that's unfamiliar with it, it's like a regular artillery observer. Obviously, it's a bigger boom, it's big naval guns, and it's this guy here with his knife hand. He just gets to pick any point on the board that he can see, and that's where the bombardment may come in. So he can clearly see across here to the corner of that building, and that's a really good spot. I could start getting my tank and all sorts of different things. Doesn't come in yet. It comes in at the beginning before anything else happens of turn 2. So there we go. So what we'll do, guys, is we'll cut that there, and we'll be back once we've done the rest of the turn, and we'll just a bit of a summary of that. There we go. So after the dust has settled on turn 1, the Germans have drawn first blood. We've killed a couple of Marines, and we've put a scattering of pins around the place. But the Marines have moved up, so we'll go through now in a bit more detail what's happened. So this squad here, using its light machine gun around the corner, just fired up a burst at the Vickers K squad over there, and we didn't get any hits, unfortunately. The reserve squad has pushed forward. It's not actually in reserve, I should say. This sort of counter-attacking squad has pushed forward there. This squad was able to fire a machine gun. It fired at the unit of Marines that had lost the Vickers K from the machine gun, from my machine gun. And they managed to get another hit and another kill on them, so that's really good. So even though they passed order test, they're back on a pin and they've lost 2 people. This squad here fired at the Vickers K team that's through there, and unfortunately did no hits to it. Likewise, they fired back and got no hits on me, so just trading machine gun fire there essentially. The tank fired, and it only needed a 4, and it got a hit, and it only needed a 3 to damage the Centaur CS, but it got a 1, so just a dud shell, unfortunately. Or clearly a late war shell. You know, Germans aren't quite able to afford much powder in the charge and all that kind of stuff. So just a pin on that tank, but it is only a regular tank. It's one of the few regular units in James's unit army. So it may, you know, it only gets an 8 to pass that leadership check, so it may or may not pass it. It turns out that the Marines did. We saw their tank fire and it got the miss, unfortunately. These guys, like I said, they took a casualty, but they passed the war test. They ran out here. Then another one of them got cut down, unfortunately. Captain, Second Lieutenant Reginald has just moved up here to try and give his leadership buff out to a couple of units. Vickers K team came up, did a bit of fire, traded a bit of fire with the German machine guns. Piat sprinted around here, not towards the German tank. I think James is playing it a little bit more cagey with that, seeing where my tank might end up, where my reserves might come in. And then finally, the Vickers K team that is defending the island went on ambush. One little thing to clarify is when you saw that the landing craft that was here with the Marines, and that was actually in reserve, that was a mistake from my part. So there, the unit that was in reserve, they went down this turn. Both of my units in reserve went down as well. But if they do come in here, we're obviously going to let them use the landing craft to come in as we sort of described. It's just a bit of fun, bit of cool, rule of cool. So there we go, that's turn 1. Couple of dead Royal Marine Commandos, a couple of pins on that side as well. But this is kind of how me and James expect the game to go. We're going to see the Commandos take a couple of casualties on the way in each turn, but then when they get close, that veteran, that tough fighter rule, tough as old boots, that's all going to start coming into play, and they should start munching on the regular German infantry. So that's turn 1. Let's see what happens turn 2. In fact, before we do anything else, let's see if that bombardment comes in. So it's placed here. James got to roll dice. I think on a 1 to 3, it basically doesn't.
On a 1, it doesn't come in. On a 2 and a 3, it's delayed.
Okay. So it's delayed. So we'll work out what that is. I think it goes in a slightly different direction and whatnot. But it's not coming in this turn. That is interesting. So they've called for the artillery strike from the naval guns. Maybe they haven't received the message yet. Maybe the shells are still in transit. But the bombardment isn't coming in this turn. And we'll work out where that marker ends up in a moment. Right, that's it. We've got the dice. We'll move that marker and then we'll be back with pulling dice out the bag. So we've drawn the first dice and it is a German dice. Now that's very interesting because I have a few choices to make here. Do I move my machine gun in a way to try and stop the sniper from getting it? Or do I just risk it and try and mow down that squad that's out in the open a bit more? It's a bit of a tricky one. I'm just going to see if there's any windows on this thing. There is, so that sniper could probably see through. Ooh, you know what? I'm going to go for a run order on the machine gun, and I'm going to try and get it out of dodge. So I'll just do that off camera. We'll see where it ends up. So the machine gun team has ended up there, and we've checked, and without moving, the sniper cannot see it. So it's going to have to move if it wants to see it, and then it can't use the scope if it moves. So a little bit of counterplay there. I did consider obviously opening up and trying to do damage to them, but it'd be at least 5s to hit, then I'd need 5s to kill, and then it's not worth losing a dice over killing a marine or two. So there we go. Right, let's pull the next dice out of the bag. Just put that run dice next to there.
It's German again.
Ah, the Germans! Right, now the thing is, I kind of need to move my tank. I wish I'd moved it last turn now. So what I'm going to do is I am going to move it, and what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and move it in such a way to get it as far away from the British tank, but where I can get clear line of sight on the British tank, so I'll still be hitting on a 4. That's what I'm going to attempt to do now. So obviously I can't pre-measure, but I'm going to sort of say I'm going to come this way and then try and light you up basically. So let's see where I end up in a moment. So the Panzer IV has moved up here in such a way that it should still be getting like a modicum of cover from the building if the CS doesn't move, and it's also still presenting its front armour as well. It's going to fire its whole machine gun at the sniper team, which should be in half range, so it should be moved, small target light cover, so it should be 6s to hit the sniper team with the whole machine gun, and then it has got a clean shot on the front armour of that Centaur CS. So, from the sort of the tip of the barrel of my gun. So, it should be a 4 to hit because I've moved. I'm in half range. 4 to hit with the main gun. Let's see what happens. It's a 2. So the German tank doesn't hit the CS. And now we've got the medium machine gun. I need an extra dice for that because I'm German. There we go. Needing 6 to hit the sniper team. And no hits. So the German tank has achieved nothing this turn. But there we go, that is that dice. So let's see what the next dice is.
It's another German.
It's another German dice. Jeez Louise, James. It's not 40k, I'm not meant to get all the dice in one go. Give it a good shake. So I'm going to... I'm a little conscious of what the Marines have, but I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to go for a safe choice. I'm going to go for a fire order, and I'm going to fire at the Vickers K team there. So it'll be 5 dice again, long range, heavy cover. We stay in the bases, that bit's a bit of heavy cover for the Marines, so it's 6s to hit. No hits again. Absolute terrible German turn. I mean, I did get all my 6s out of the way on that first kill, I think. So that's the German dice done there. Let's see what the next one is. Hopefully the Marines will get a chance to do something in this.
It is me.
Excellent. So we'll do this Marine dice, we'll see what James goes for, and then we'll do a summary at the end of the turn.
I'm going to run with this squad into there.
Okay, he's running with that squad. So we'll let you do that live on camera, James. People love to see you move those Marines one at a time, carefully. So just, yeah, where's your front guy? So yeah, you can get them all behind there. Easy peasy. So that's where these Marines are going to end up. That is a scary position. There's a Panzer IV there.
Am I within 18 inches? Because I was start to suffer from tiger feet.
Measure. Are you in range? Do it now. You know, 18 inches to there.
18 inches. I'm all right.
You're all right for your order, but next turn you're certainly... Oh, you've got a pin on you.
I had a pin on me.
You've got to remember these things.
Do I even move?
Do you even move? You do?
I do.
Right, so you lose your pin. There we go. We're remembering orders. Oh man, I wish I had board wide tiger fear. Okay, so that was the Marine dice. So we'll wrap this turn up there, and we'll be back at the end with a summary. So the Germans have had a little bit of a change of plan, and what we've decided to do is to do a tactical redeploy. And so our infantry forces that were originally sort of holding the centre and the base have moved around this flank and have started engaging with the marine forces that they can see. Now, this machine gun fired up at the Vickers K team defending the marine base, but didn't get any hits. And in fact, I didn't get any hits all game. Spoiler alert, all game, all turn, I didn't get any hits. The Vickers K team fired back and they got a hit. So I got a pin, but they didn't kill anyone yet. So there's no Germans have died yet. Not yet. This team moved up here. I was originally sort of thinking, do I go through the building and out? But I thought, don't want to, this is heavy cover here. Don't want the Vickers K team to have a too easy time of it. So moved up here, managed to get a smattering of shots on that Piat team that's poking around the corner. But unfortunately, didn't get any hits, like I said. Over here, that Vickers K team that's hiding in there. I call them Vickers K teams. They're actually, they are squads, but it's because they're full of Vickers Ks that I call them Vickers K teams. That Vickers K squad fired over here, and I said, you know what? I'll just go down. It's 2 machine guns. This is my 1 machine gun. It's probably best for me to just sit here and hold. And I didn't move them because I figured that's got because it's a naval one. It's like a 9 plus D6, so it's very hard to escape it once it's placed on top of you. So I figured just stay there, lads, and hopefully you can weather the bombardment if it comes in, or they'll get flattened and I have to think about what I'm doing with my life. Over here, as we saw, the Panzer came round and didn't do anything, and then the CS fired back. Now, we sort of said, because he's shooting my front arc, we were like, from sort of where the tank is, like, there's a little bit of cover there. So we said it's light cover, it's not heavy cover. We have been saying if you've got a building obscuring you, it's heavy, but we said it's just light in that case, because it's just trying to fire past the corner of the building. But in the end, it didn't really matter, because he got a straight 1, so we put a little bit of smoke there to represent that. HE shell just went straight into the side of the building and didn't do anything. The Marine team ran around here, as we saw. The sniper team went for a run order and got a 10 because of the Tiger with an 18-inch range. But we checked, and Tiger Fear actually gives you a -1. So they actually failed. So the sniper team went down. And that's really unfortunate for them because their one job was to pick up that machine gun, and now they can't redeploy. They're getting a bit bogged down. Basically, they fired the shot, missed, and went, crikey, that's a Panzer. Don't know why they're Australian. Foreign exchange students over here. And then, they basically they bottled it there. So we'll see what that sniper team can do. Captain Second Lieutenant Reginald has stayed there just to boost his men. They did a bit of a firefight. Piat team went down there, which is why I didn't hit it at all. And that's it. And again, a bit of a firefight over here. Both sides reserves stayed in reserve this turn. So we're absolutely cracking through this game. We're both sort of commenting. This is the first bolt action battle report we've filmed, and it's much quicker than filming a 40k one. A 40k battle report can easily take 8 hours to film, and this is taking, well, I don't know how, we're having a lot of fun, so maybe time is flying, but this is not taking, it doesn't feel like it's taking anywhere near as long. So we're on to turn 3 already, potentially halfway through the game, so we'll see what happens. Now, before we move on, let's see if that bombardment comes in. There we go, so let's see what happens. It is coming in.
That is coming in.
So what we'll do is we'll work out what the heck this thing does, and then we will do the results in front of you. So that'll be nice. That'll be a nice sort of cool way to do it. But we'll pick the dice up, put them in the bag, and then we'll work out that bombardment on camera. So the first thing we need to do is see how big this old naval shell is. So unlike a normal artillery shell, this is going to be D6 plus 9 inches. See how many units it catches in the blast. So it's going to be 11 inches. So it's 11 inches from that point. So I've got a tape measure here. Here we go. So are you going to get the Panzer IV? No. So right over there, it's not going to get the Panzer IV. Okay, you're definitely going to hit there. Are you going to hit any other units? I don't think so. No. So my successful running away and hiding has worked. There's no honour in this game. I'm the Germans, I'm the bad guys. So now we need to roll a die. So they're definitely, on a 1 to 4, they take D3 pin markers. On a 5, they essentially take a medium mortar hit. And on a 6, they essentially take a really big heavy howitzer hit. So let's see what this unit gets.
It's a 5.
So it's going to be a light mortar hit. Now, I probably should have said if I was going down before you rolled that.
Would you like to go down?
I should have said it, and I'm going to be harsh with myself. Now, viewers, if that is wrong, and I should have got the choice, let me know, and I can go and cry. But I'll just wear it this time. It's not fair to try and jib someone out of something. So it's the 2 inch. So I reckon you can get 3 guys. because it's sort of like you've got to put it on him, you can get those two, because they're all meant to be like an inch apart. You put it on there, might get those two and him. So we'll say you get 3 guys. I am regular, so it's 2s to kill. Oh, it is a dead guy, but it is D3 pins.
D3 pins. We'll put those in the dice jail.
In the dice jail. There you go. So it's sort of, you know, that was not as big an impact as we expected, but that is because I moved out of the way. But it has killed a guy and it has put 3 pins on this unit. So, did you get a 6 on that kill dice? I think you did, didn't you?
No, it's 5.
It was a 5, okay. I was going to say you could have got to pick. So there we go. That was interesting. So we've resolved that now, and what we'll do, we'll sort that pin marker. That was the artillery marker. I'll choose it as a pin 1. And what we'll do now is we'll start pulling dice out of the bag. So we're back in a moment. First dice has been pulled out of the bag. It is a German dice. That is very interesting. I think I'm going to go with my tank first.
Slight concern from the British.
Slight bit of the old concern. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get myself some heavy cover. You've got no anti-tank grenades in that squad? No, so you're not going to have a good time assaulting the Panzer. So I think I'm going to move the Panzer in such a way that I will then try and fire over here. So obviously I've got one hand on the camera, so we'll cut the shot there, and then we're back once if I decide what I'm going to do with the tank. But the Panzer's definitely going first. So James has just checked his list, and that squad actually does have anti-tank grenades. Is it the only squad that's got it, or have you given it to all of them?
The reserve unit has it as well.
The reserve unit. So to be fair, he's put it on his 2 assault squads, so fair enough. No one else normally takes them, but I guess if you don't have Panzerfaust, anti-tank grenades are fairly decent option. So what I've said I'm going to do, I've been very clear, I'm going to drive up to here and I'm going to hose them down point blank with both machine guns. So, James, do you want to go down?
I will go down.
You will go down. Okay, so let's start measuring things up and moving the Panzer around, and we'll be back when we're rolling those dice to see if we can kill some Marines. So we've worked it out, and it is going to be 5s to hit the Marines. They are in light cover there. They're not sort of in the building, they're around it, so they're sort of mulling around in the bushes. Don't ask him what they're doing in the bushes, but they are doing something in there. But they were down in the bushes, which would mean it's a -3, so even though it'd be point blank, I'm hitting on 5s, and he's taking dice out of the bag. Now I have on me 6 dice, so I could do with 4 more German dice, James, if you could grab them from the pool. Yes, 6 more German dice.
Yeah, 6 more.
Yes. I am a professional. I am for everything ready. There we go. So that was a drop one. No, that was a drop one. So there we go. I'm just going to re-roll the one that dropped. No, it didn't want to be a hit. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 hits, which is about right. 4 out of 12. I think that's statistical. So right now it is 5 to kill. So I've done a pin and they're down. So that's a big deal. Let's see if we can kill them. Oh, that's 2 6s.
2 6s.
That's 2 dead. I mean, to be fair, that's about right from a Panzer. So I get to roll those again, and maybe I'll get to pick who dies. Nope, I don't get to pick who dies. So James, please remove 2 of your least favourite Marines from that squad.
Gotta think about the cohesion.
So he's done that. So there we go. I mean, I could have fired the main gun, but it would have been, it wouldn't have been as much chance to hit. So obviously I'd already declared what I was firing with my machine gun, so I couldn't have retrospectively fired it with the down or anything like that. So that's why I often like to take the pintle, just so you know, on mine, because it's 3 machine guns. You do obviously count as open top the turn you do it, but you really hose people down with that beast. But no pintle on this one. I'm not even sure you can take it on the Panzer IV, but you can do on a Tiger, which is what I like to do. But there we go. So that is the first dice out of the bag. Let's pick another dice. Let's smash.
It is
the green. It is the British dice. So I'm just going to tidy up a few dice whilst you can have a little think about what you want to do.
I'm going to try and move my snipers again.
So you'll try and move the sniper. So it's definitely in Tiger Fear Rage this time. Let's see what happens. Nope.
That's
in fact, they foobar. They foobar. So roll a dice, and I think a 5 or 6 is bad, and a 1 to 4 is okay.
1 to 4 is run away, I think.
Yeah, just 1 dice.
It's a 5.
I think you shoot someone.
Yeah.
This is why you don't let the Australian foreign exchange students be your snipers, James. Crikey, there's a tiger there. Quickly, shoot those poms in the back. So just go to the very back. Go to the very back. We're doing it live on camera. It's good to see the the workings in action. It's near the damage table, a bit further back.
Isn't it good that all the rules...
Foobar chart, there you go. So no, sorry, you were okay. A 1 to a 2 is bad, and you got a 5, so you're alright. So you just panic, so you run 12 inches back towards your board edge. It's kind of not the end of the world that for you, really, is it?
Kind of worked out alright.
They ran, they just didn't run in the direction you want them to. So 12 inches back, there you go. And that's been an exciting beginning of turn 3, hasn't it? Jeez. Just take an inch off because you're going down a bit. There you go. To represent the scrabbling down. Right, there we go. Next dice. So quick. I love it. It's rapid. I think that's my German Panzer dice, that. So there we go.
It's another German dice.
Ah, the Germans. Right. Thank you very much, good sir, kind sir. Ooh, this is exciting. Oh, I don't know what to do. Right, I will, before I do anything else, I will fire. I will just straight up fire this squad here at your Piat team. And your Piat team, if you don't go down, I'll hit you on 6s with pretty much everyone. And if you do go down, I will hit you on 6s followed by 6s.
I am not going to go down.
You're going to wear it. Okay, so I have 3 STGs in range, so I need 6 dice for that. And then 4 rifles can see. That guy on the stairs can't quite see. So that's 10 dice. I'm going to hit on 6s. Let's see what happens. Oh dear, I've got 2 hits. Oh no, small team. I need 6s followed by 6s no matter what happens. So good job we didn't get any hits last turn. So that's good job we've just caught ourselves on that. I probably should have changed my order if I remember that, but I haven't, and I'm not going to do any take backsies because that wouldn't be fair on James because he's obviously not gone down. So we will then see if I get any 6s anyway. Nope, so nowhere near, just powering some rounds off the side there. That's a lesson. That's a good job we caught that one. I'm sure someone would have been screaming in the comment section if we'd got that one wrong.
It's a British dice.
It's a British dice. So we'll do. James, decide what you're going to do with your British dice, and then we'll do a summary after this.
I'm going to move my tank and I'm going to shoot you. I don't know how or where.
How or where? Now remember, you can't shoot within an inch of your own blokes, so if you try and move over here, you're going to have a bad time. You won't be able to shoot past your own guys. You may have to try and shoot something that isn't a tank.
Yep.
So you're going straight forward.
Straight forward.
You've got a pivot. If you want to have a pivot.
I'm going to fire over here. This building.
Oh, how fruity. So that'll be a move and a heavy cover. Yeah, just so everyone knows, we're not actually using the building rules in this because we're not that experienced with them, so we're just saying it's all just hard cover and stuff like that. So are you within half range?
I'm not within half range.
Okay. So it's going to be moved, heavy cover, long range. It will be 6s followed by 6s. Are you using the main gun?
I'm using the main gun.
Okay. No. I'm not even going to put any smoke on the board for that. That was so far off, yeah. It wasn't even in the vicinity. No, we'll put some smoke. We'll put some smoke like there or something. Okay, so that's it. So, like we said, guys, we've done a few dice at the beginning of the turn. We'll pull the rest of the dice off camera, and we'll see where we are at the end of turn 3. So, to summarise the remainder of turn 3. This squad here fired first, a little bit of fire support, trying in vain to get some 6s on that squad over there. Still haven't got it. It's the 3rd turn in a row. That's 15 dice, no 6s. But as they were providing their covering fire, I was then able to run these 2 squads. If I'd done that the wrong way round, this squad wouldn't have been able to fire because you can't shoot within an inch of your own bloke. So, bit of covering fire, and these guys both ran up here. This squad, as you saw, didn't get the Piat team. In return, the Vickers K lit them up, and despite needing 6s, James got 5 6s to hit off 10 dice, and then he got 3 kills. If he'd got 1 more kill, it would have been a RAR check, but in the case it wasn't, so I lost 3 riflemen, and I've got a pin marker on that squad now. These chaps got shot by a Vickers K squad, took a casualty, I think, and then they took a pin, and then rallied. I got 3 pins off in total from the rally, 1 for passing the order and 2 on the D6. And then over here, we saw these guys went down, the sniper team ran away, This tank moved forward, and it's like, I'm going to fire on these bad boys. I'm going to absolutely light them up. And then he got a 1. So we didn't even put any smoke down. We were like, it was so far wide. He doesn't even get the honour of a bit of smoke down. Round here, the Piat team is sort of boomeranging, sort of over here and then over here. But James is sort of just seeing where my arm is going to come on. But he's decided, I think, he's going to commit it to try and do something against my Panzer IV. Maybe as early as next turn, maybe the turn after. Captain, Second Lieutenant Reginald Lane has gone down again. He's just having a good time with his officer there. They're probably playing like bridge or something with his aide. There you go. Oh, Captain Lane, you've beaten me again. He's a good aide, this one. Carruthers can be his aide. There you go. Carruthers. There you go. The Vickers K team, as I said, did a bit of the old shooty shoot. So did this Vickers K team very successfully. This chap went down. He's just essentially just a dice in the bag at this point now. His bombardments come in. And James voluntarily went down with his reserves. I attempted to bring mine in but failed. Attempted to bring the Hanomag in and failed. So I involuntarily went down with my reserves. Probably a good thing. The dice gods probably telling me to do the right thing, because there wasn't really an advantage to bringing it on apart from I'm impatient and it's going to keep distracting me. But apart from that, that is the end of turn 3. So both sides making some manoeuvres towards the other one's base. We've got some Marines over here, sort of struggling against a Panzer. We've obviously got the CS, we've got the Piat team and stuff, and there's a bit of a manoeuvre, bit of a rush trying to get to the radio tower. And likewise over here, you can see originally the veterans were going to try and take on this task, but it's come down to the good old regulars. You can't beat them. Good old, just nice little platoon of regulars coming over here, 3 squads and an officer. And they're going to try and, at some point, they're going to have to try and storm this base. They're going to have to get a wiggle on, I think. There's only 3 movement phases left for them to achieve that. So, let's see what happens going into turn 4. Now, we'll put the dice back in the bag, and then we'll record us pulling the first one out. Right, so this is turn 4. Potentially the 4th out of 6 turns. Maybe we could go into 7. We don't know yet. Right, pull the first dice. Show us the dice. Show us the dice. There British we go. Dice. It is the British.
I'm going to snap 2.
Oh, there you go.
So you pull 2 dice out of the bag.
Now, normally a second lieutenant can only do himself and one other unit. Are you a special second lieutenant? Because German's a special second lieutenant.
I was just going to do the Piat team then.
Okay, you're just going to do the Piat team, yeah. I wasn't sure if you have a special rule.
No.
You don't, okay.
And I'm going to try and get a bit closer to you. It's just...
Oh, you're going for the run.
I'm going for a run on this Piat team.
Fruity.
Get them in there.
Definitely fruity.
See what happens.
Well, that sort of forces my hand, doesn't it? There we go. That's a run. The old... I'm going to be pedantic. There we go for that on the run. So you can just leave that other dice back in if you want.
Shuffle them over there.
You don't have to snap 2. You didn't know your thing. So if you just want to put the dice back in and put him where he was, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it makes more sense.
No point. It's different when you're acting under false pretenses, than being jibby. You're not being jibby.
It's me anyway.
Right, it's you anyway.
They're going to try and get another pin on these guys over here.
Okay, going to get another pin on these guys. I'm going to come back round my side of the table.
2 Vickers Ks.
2 of the old Vicarious Ks. That's its genus and species? I don't know, I failed biology. Right, here we go. Pyow. So 6s required, because it's long range heavy cover. No 6s. So you had all your fun with the 6s last turn, I think.
Yeah.
So there you go.
There we are.
So we've had 2 British dice. God save the Queen.
For the King.
For the King. I'm a bit of a heretic. I haven't even got a British army yet, and I'm playing. I am British. I am a Brit. I am British. Right, the old German-a-roos, eh? Well, Welly Wellington. That is actually. I picked my ambush dice up like a special person. I should have left. I meant to leave it on ambush. Oh well, that's a mistake made. I could have had a little pop at the Piat team, but there you go. Be careful with picking your dice up, kids, because you will make silly mistakes like me.
It is worth remembering you can leave ambush and down dice
On, yeah. And I intended to, but then I picked it up in my excitement. So, the thing is now, I kind of have, I don't have to go with the Panzer. I don't want to go with the Panzer yet, because he will pop a wheelie at me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to... I need to get a blinking wiggle on. I need to do some sprinting, I think. I'm going to go for some... I just need to sprint like my life depends on it, which it does somewhat. My game does anyway. I'm going to go for a run order with this squad. My intention is to run as far as possible in sort of that direction and to try and scrabble around for some light cover over here. That's probably the best chance that I've got at the moment. So we'll just we'll do that off camera because I've got to mess around with the tape measure and whatnot, but that is going to be my choice for my first unit. So that's where we end up. James and I have agreed that the old checkpoint and everything is probably going to count as light cover, and there's barricades and there's all sort of bits. So they have gone for a run order, but we have obviously, you know, the vicious Vickers K team could do something about that.
Which it is about to.
It's about to. It's a good choice because if you didn't, I'd probably try and get a pin on you.
Yep. So they're going to shoot.
So 10 shots.
This squad into the German squad that's just advanced.
Indeed. Oh, I should have snapped two'd. It's too late now. Because I want the leadership check there in case you mowed loads of them down. Oh well. As they say in this industry, tough hits. Now, are you within 18-inch range?
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like you are. From an eyeballing perspective.
One of them is going to get...
One of them isn't. Right, there you go. So, do this half at a time. So the first 5 is going to hit on 4s. And the other 5 are going to hit on 5s. Here we go.
Hitting on 4s.
2, 1.
Just one.
Just one, alright. And then put that to one side, grab another dice, or I've got a separate set if you think they're in the dice prison. These need 5s. Another 2. As is always the way, the ones that are having a harder time got more hits. Forced to kill. One kill. One kill and a pin. It was worth the risk. So I've got a bloke I need to pick out there. Ironically, it's the guy at the front who's got who caused the extra hit. So he's dead now. There we go. And the old pinaroo. Here's one I have earlier. There we go. So the Germans have made a sprint for it. Could be interessant, as they say on the continent.
It's German dice.
The German dice. Okay. I think I'm going to plop through that hole, run out the door that's on that side, and see how far I can get with that squad.
Sounds good.
Wait, no, that is a lie. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to run my officer first. He can then give them a leadership buff. So we're going to remember the rules. Right, there we go. He's going to run, and he is just going to... I think he's just going to go fast forward. No.
Gotta go fast.
Oh, brain. Yeah, he's going to... Oh, no, yeah, I've already said the officer's definitely going. He's just going to run. He's going to sort of run to about here, try and get some light cover and whatnot. There we go. So I probably can just do that. There you go. The reason I was being a bit hesitant is I realised I probably wanted to shoot this squad before I ran the guy, but I'd already said I was doing my officer, so that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to be as ruthless as possible. There we go. That's a run. Right, next dice, and then we'll call it. We'll do the rest of the turn off camera. Right.
That's me. I'm going to do the exciting thing first. I'm going to run my tank.
Run the tank?
I'm going to run the tank.
It's on a road.
It's an objective game.
It's on a road.
Got to play the objective.
Right. I'm somewhat terrified now.
Yes.
Because you start on the road.
Started on the road.
So you get a pivot.
It's one pivot.
Very good. And you can now, if you run, you can go 36 inches. But you can't pivot again, so are you sure you want to run? Because you can go 18 and not. Yeah, I wouldn't run. Because you're just going to end up about there and then stop, because you're not going to be able to pivot again without going off the road, aren't you?
Do you know I can get in there?
Staying on the main part of the road. Maybe if you turn like that. Give it a go, mate. Just you've declared it. Now let's see if you can do it. Staying on the road. I reckon the majority of you is going to be on the road. We'll give you a bit of leeway because you're a tracked vehicle. So you're running.
Indeed.
It's a bold strategy, Con. Let's see if it pays off.
Let's see indeed.
So I do have a Panzerfaust. Or 3. Okay, that's a bold move. That's it.
That's it, that's the move.
Right, so we will, we'll find out by the end of the turn if that thing's alive or dead, I suppose. I've got a lot that's going to try and pop it. Right, so we'll cut the camera there and we'll see. We'll leave you in suspense, probably for like a 30 seconds. We'll leave you in suspense and we'll see if that tank is still there when we come back. So, after the dust had settled, the Centaur CS is no more. But it did take up pretty much the entire of the Germans' attention for this term. So the first dice that we pulled, this squad, which was going to be on the attack, moved round and fired a Panzerfaust at it and missed because it was over half range and it had moved. So just didn't get that 5 to hit. We then passed an order test with this unit, which dropped down here. But this tank was very, very much obscured, so it was move, heavy cover, over half range, and it just got like a 1 and didn't get anywhere near it. Finally, this unit went, and it was in point blank, and it was on the side armour, and we got the hit, and then we set it on fire. We got the penetrating hit, we set it on fire. But the crew of the Centaur were like, we're Marines. We always have plenty of spare water around. That's just what we do. So they just put the fire out, and that was it. And I was like, oh, well, it's 2 pins, but it's not a guaranteed tank knocked out. So I decided to go for it. I potentially am going to eat a Piat to the side armour next turn. But I decided, or maybe even the front armour, but I decided I would then take advantage of the road. So I did a 90-degree pivot, drove straight backwards, managed to go 18 inches, turned my turret, and just put a heavy anti-tank shell through the back of the vehicle. I got 3 to hit, which is what I needed because I was in point blank and I'd moved. I got 3 to hit. I got to penetrate the side armor. I rolled a 4, which meant that overall I got a penetration value of 12, which is 3 or greater than the Centaur's rear armor, than Centaur's armor value, which means I got to do massive damage to it. I rolled the dice and I rolled a 3 and I rolled a 5. So it was on 5 pins and it then set on fire and then it died. So it got absolutely smashed. So you can see it's on fire, it's all blown up. So I got a cool, and I always like doing that with my German tanks. I like to be the person who's got the best tanks on the field, and you always have to pay for that. My tank is significantly more expensive than James's, but as you can see, the Panzer forces have won the tank duel, as is only right for the Germans. Only Reich. Anyway. So then James tried another sneaky manoeuvre. He charged around here. I tried to ambush him, but it totally failed. And I thought, oh, flipping heck, he's going to start pushing. He's going to take my team. He couldn't even get to the radio tower. And then I was like, wait a second, I've got reserves. So my Hanomag came in, did a pin. The guys then jumped out. He'd already run, so he couldn't go down. We hosed him down, and the last 3 Marines there were killed. I got 4 out of the 16 shots that I fired. I managed to get, all told, I got 4 wounds through, and those guys died. So, the Marines have got their sniper here, they've got their Piat team, and their officer here. So this is a bit thin on the ground here. They've got the Vickers K team, who haven't been able to do anything really this turn. They didn't get any hits or anything. And then they brought their reserves in here, because I've got a good push coming on over here. So it's looking like both sides have expended their resources on the defensive, which is kind of interesting because it means it's very likely now that the game is going to end in a draw as we go into, what's it, turn 5 next turn. So it's going to be interesting. The Germans have obviously got the capacity to try and push up here, and we've got our Panzer as well, which could potentially come over and do some things. But it's very much looking like, you know, both sides did a push that turn. Both sides pushes have been countered, but the Marines have lost 2 units that turn, so it's now 7 dice to 9. So there we go. It's an interesting game for sure. We'll see if the Germans are able to make it last until, and make a sort of turn 7 dash for this. I think the Marines either wanted to end turn 6 and go for the draw, or go on to turn 7 and try a Hail Mary for the radio tower. So it's interesting. Both sides are playing very similarly at the moment. So there we go. We will put all the dice back in the bag and we will be back at the start of turn 5. First dice of the game has been pulled. We got a little bit excited. We should have really recorded the actual pulling of the dice, but the first dice has been pulled out and we have gone for the Germans, which is interesting. So, I've got to be careful here. So I actually have been so thinking about the battle report, I haven't actually thought about what I want to do next. Right, I am going to put my machine gun team on ambush. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I'm not sure where I want my tank to go yet. But if those Piat blokes come for it, they're going to light them up, hopefully get a pin or make it an even harder shot on them. I could get the tank out of dodge, but I'm not sure what I'll do with that yet. I'm going to see what James does. So that's the first dice. Next dice. Mr. James.
It's another German dice.
Another German dice. Okay. I could get I could get the veterans back in the Hanomag and go for a bit of a push. But I think what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to. I don't want to come out of cover yet because you've got 2 squads there. I think I'm going to. Are they realistically going to make it if it's only a 6-turn game? Probably not. So I think I am going to go with my. I'm going to go with my veterans, and I'm going to go for a run. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run them to here. So even if my tank starts getting in threat, the turn after, I'll be able to start cleaning up those units over there. So I will run those in a moment. I've got my tape measure here. Try to extend the tape measure one-handed. This is the one-handed tape measure extending technique. There we go. So I'm just going to run around to about the edge of that building there. There we go. Whilst I'm doing that, James, you can pick the next dice. Oh, it's a German one again.
One again.
Okay. Okay. Just move these up here. Here. Dice. Here. Right. I was going to ambush the Hanomag, but then I realised it won't ever be able to shoot because I can't shoot within an inch of my own blokes. So, I'm going to... Aha! Clever girl. I'm going to turn. I'm going to run over the other cow. I already ran one over with the Panzer. That one's going to get run over now. And I'm going to go forward 9 inches, and then I'm going to try and machine gun that squad there. That's what I'm going to attempt to do. The old one-handed. This is what I've been saving you guys from viewing when I've been cutting the camera. But today, you're going to see it. So I'm going to end up just on the edge of the yellow bit of stuff. There we go. Now, I'm just going to make James do this. Am I within 36? To the tip of the gun. Nope, nowhere near. Not even a sausage. So it just goes and it doesn't do anything. Right, where's my German dice?
There.
Thank you very much. The old advance. Right, what's the next dice?
It is a British dice.
It's a green dice. There we go.
I'm going to do the thing. I'm going to advance. So I'm going to move over,
and shoot
over this.
The Piat.
I'm going to try and shoot your tank.
Now, we were debating whether he's in 18. We both think if he is, it's going to be on the edge. So it's 6 to move and then 12 to shoot. So just go straight forward. Yeah, just go to about there. Alright, now are you within 12?
I am going to say no.
Oh, he's tantalisingly close. Go ahead, give it. It's just not quite in. I want to give it to you, but you're just not quite in.
No.
Okay, do you fire anyway? So get a bit of smoke and put it right in front of the fans. Bloop. Oh dear! Oh dear! Oh dear!
Oh dear!
Oh dear! See, if you had a bazooka.
Yeah.
Is it an extra pen, but?
No, it's a long range. It's a longer range, and it's 24 inch.
Well, I mean, it's the Piat an extra pen, but shorter. Maybe we don't know.
Sure.
But you don't have one.
I don't have bazooka. We just have spring launched projectiles.
Okay, right. Next dice is another green one. So we'll do this next green one, and then we'll cut it there, and we'll bring you the end of the turn summary.
I'm going to advance with this squad.
Okay. Squad that's been blazing away for a bit. We were actually, whilst James was doing his little movement thing, we said this is actually a really clever move by James, because when I blew this up, it means I couldn't have brought my reserves on here and use the road to go like 18 and then turn and then another 18 and done a run, and then I would have had a squad of 8 veterans really ready to get onto his objective. But I couldn't do it. He blocked the road, so even though it was a valiant effort, and he would have definitely potentially have won the game afterwards if I hadn't blown it with my Panzerfaust and everything, it was a good ballsy manoeuvre. Even in death, it still serves. So there you go.
So this squad are going to shoot their 2 Vickers into this squad. They're within half range, but they have moved. And you're getting like cover.
I'm going to eat it. I'm going to wear it because I can't go down.
You can't afford to go down.
So we'll have a nice big bit of shooting, and we'll see what happens. And then we'll bring you the end of turn summary after that. You need 10 whole dice.
10 big dice.
He's reaching into the cargo pants, and hopefully pulling dice out. So it's the old 4s. That's looking, as they say, fruity. That's looking statistical, actually. Statistical.
Pretty good.
There we go. 4s again. 2.
There's 1. 2
now
hits.
you get to roll that again, and you just get to pick. Now you can take the LMG or you can take the officer.
I'm going to take your NCO because you're going to be moving.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm going to remove your NCO.
But the model basically stays there because someone else just takes.
Okay, well, yeah, I'll take your LMG team then.
Okay, take the LMG. I will go and get a rifleman because it's 2-on-1 thing. So there we go. And I have a pin. You put the pin on me, and I will go and get an extra rifleman. And that is the sort of dice that we'll show in this turn, and we'll be back at the end of the turn with a bit of a summary. So when the dust had settled on turn 5, it was quite an interesting turn. The Panzer over here ended up firing a shell right at that big cluster of blokes, and James went down. If he hadn't gone down, I would have got the hit. It went from a 5 to 6 followed by 6s, and when we rolled the first dice, I got a 5, and that would have 2-inch template and all those guys would have been gnarly. They're all bunched up. So he made the right call going down there. He doesn't need them yet, just needs them to hold for his next turn. And then the machine gun fired at the Piat team and got a pin. And then what happened is this squad advanced up here. Now, actually, it's only the machine gun is on the roof. The rest of them are on the bottom floor, because I needed him to get on the roof so that he could fire. He could fire over the Panzer. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to fire within an inch of his into the Panzer. And I got 3 hits, even though I needed like 5s and 6s. And then I got 3 kills. It was just they just got mown down by the absolute Chad with the MG34. There we go. Good old MG34. A lot of people say the MG42, but all my personal Germans are armed with MG34s. And so that was kind of it over here. The snipers put an extra pin on the squad that was hanging out by the checkpoint, but they actually still passed the order. They got a double 1, so those Germans actually really went for it. Snipers are a little bit disappointing. I've said to James that for the longest time I've been saying to him, I don't bother with snipers anymore. And he's starting to come around to that way of thinking, I think, because he's been a little bit of a letdown. Such cool models, but they just don't quite deliver. Especially when you're paying for like veteran, like 65 points or something crazy, maybe even more for the Marine ones. Second Lieutenant Captain Reginald Lane ran back over here. He's had a bit of a funny game because he's kind of been going back and forth, but he's just been handing out that leadership buff where it's needed, essentially. And then over here, these guys came around here. They hosed down some of the Germans, but then in response, this unit broke cover, ran over here, and was actually able to kill 2 of them, which was pretty significant, but obviously they're out in the open now. But both those Vickers Ks have lost their loader, which means they will be shooting at -1, so they might be alright. Over here, like I said, these went down, and this is what remains of the German squad. So the Vickers K unit here went on ambush, and then even though these guys had 3 pins of them, they got the double 1 for leadership, and they ran over, triggering the ambush. They got hosed down, but there's just one of them left, and he actually passed his leadership check. He was just absolutely fine. I think he got like a 1 and a 2. He was having a great time. So there's just 1 German left. Now the reason I had to do that is because I need to have any chance of winning, I need to be putting pressure on this. Now it's very, very unlikely that this one regular German, that Hans here, is going to survive. The old Fritz here is going to survive, but he's got to give it a go. So, got to give it a go. But it's looking like it very well may end in a draw. But we'll see. There's still, if it goes turn 7, there's this squad here. The officer ran behind here. It's very much the Germans' game now to put pressure on the Marines. But let's see what can happen. I reckon they'll probably hold. So that's basically that. Oh, this squad ran up here, I should say. They ran so that next turn they could get some supporting fire off. Maybe a few pins and whatnot. Might just allow Hans to run up there and, like the Uruk-hai from Helm's Deep, just jump onto the base and blow it up. But we'll see what happens. So that was turn 5. We're going into turn 6. Very possibly the last turn of the game. So let's put the dice back in the bag and we'll see which one comes up first. So here we are, turn 6. We've shaken the dice.
It's the German dice.
It's the Germans, which is good. I wanted that because I want to be pinning people up. So the first thing I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make James make a really hard decision. And the first thing I'm going to do is fire my Panzer. And the machine gun's going to go at the sniper team because my 90-degree pivot won't get me where I want it to go. But my big gun is going to go into his big squad. I will need a 5 to hit because I'll be within half, but he'll be in heavy. But if he goes down, then he's only really got 2 squads to deal with Hans, the heroic here Grenadier. So what are you going to do?
I am going to go down.
Oh, controversial. Okay, he's gone down. So now I will need a 6. If I get a 6 followed by a 6 now, it's just...
That's meant to be.
That's just meant to be.
It's a 6.
That would have been so unfair. Alright, let's get a few dice. So I need a few dice for the old Hitler's Buzzsaw. Do you want to go down your sniper?
No.
So it's going to be... just need to check the range there if you've got your tape measure. It's going to be at least small target. So it's going to be at least 4s. It very well may be over 18 from the tip of the whole gun.
You're just an 18? Just
within 18, so it's 4s to hit. That is statistical. As always, I've been very, just average with my dice this game, which is nice. I think the dice gods prefer me playing bolt action over 40k. My dice for 40k are awful. And then it's 5s to kill. And it's 2 kills. Boom, boom. See? Don't take snipers, kids. They're cool, but like machine gun teams, it's very much Marmite when it comes to snipers. Some people swear by them, and some people, like me, don't. So that's the first dice. Panzer's done alright this game.
It's another German dice.
Okay, right, I'm going to fire. I'm going to fire over here. I'm going to fire my machine gun into your Vickers K squad over there. I need dice. If any rifle, can you check if any rifles are in 24? I doubt they are. The machine gun definitely will be, but I doubt the rifles are within 24. No, wait, no, not even close. So it's just one light machine gun. It's going to be light cover, heavy cover, long range.
Yep.
Gonna go down.
I do not.
Right, let's get this one out of the way. Right, so 6s. I finally get some hits. That's because that's the same squad that's been shooting you the whole game. So it took them 20 dice, but they got 2 hits finally. So do I get any kills? I get 1 kill, but you get to pick. Now, very interesting conundrum for you. Do you take your NCO and be essentially -2 when it comes to doing your order? I don't think so. Definitely take a loader.
Take a loader.
Definitely take a loader. 1,000,000% take the loader. But there's a 1-pin order test. My. Right, next dice.
It's another German dice.
Come on, Germans. Come on, you Germanic. Right, these guys, you're going to come over here and I'm going to try and get another pin on you. 6 inches will get to me to about there. Just going to eyeball it. I'm eyeballing it. Alright, measure me range, James. Am I within 18 with the STGs? With 1? No?
No.
No. So, right 24 with any of the rifles?
You're within 24 with the 2 rifles. rifles.
3 rifles? It's an STG. Yeah, alright, okay. 2 rifles. So, moved, long range, heavy cover, 6s followed by 6s. Whoa. No. Alright. Done. Next dice.
It's another German dice.
Okay. These 2 mad lads are going to pop round the corner 6 inches. Sorry, camera. I'll get in there and I'm going to... Got nothing else I can fire. Yeah, that's it. Fire at your Vickers K team. Am I in range? One of them's got I think one of them's got a submachine gun. Damn me for not power gaming with my Germans. Damn me. So it's just the STG.
It's just the STG.
Should have power game taken 2 free STGs, but no, that's I know a lot of people do it, but I personally find it a bit. It's 10 free points. It's a bit much. 2 SMGs is normally okay, but 1 STG is alright. So 2 shots. Moving doesn't matter, but long range and
heavy cover.
Heavy cover. So 6s. No. Very, very nice to get an extra pin on there. Would have been very nice indeed. Next dice.
It's another German dice.
Okay.
Still coming.
We're on a roll. Now I don't think I'm going to be within 36 with that squad. Where have I put my other dice? Just being a bit careful. I've got this one here. That was an advance. Whatever it is, whatever. There we go. Advance, and there should be one. That was an advance. There we go. Cool. Just being careful with the dice there, folks. Right. So we should have. This is like last. We like doing all the dice on camera this turn, aren't we? Apparently, these guys will go on ambush. And the reason I'm going to go on ambush is if you run out with your team there, the Machine Gun Joe is going to give you the beans. Right. Next dice. I don't think I have any of the dice that matter to me.
It's another German dice.
Okay. I'm going to run. So I need to go 18 inches with him, basically. So I will do that off camera when it matters. Okay, yeah, next dice. It's like 40k. There we go.
Here we are, British dice.
Right, you can have a little think what you're doing, and I'm going to do my run with that Hanomag.
I am going to fire my naval observer.
Oh, fruity.
Into hands.
Now, he has, what's he got?
He's a regular and he's got a submachine gun.
You could probably, there's no advantage to staying still. Unless you're going to get in the way.
He'll get in the way.
I'd do your other guys first and then move him in front if I was you.
What's the plan?
You've got a plan?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to get to about there. There we go. That's where the Hanomag's ended up, guys. Right, so, you sure you want to do it this way? Tell me what you're thinking, because it's only a friendly.
Shoot him into there.
Right.
See if I can kill him.
Yep, that'd be 4s.
If I hit him, don't kill him, it's an extra pin.
Yeah.
Then I'll fire this squad into him, hopefully kill him.
Right.
Failing that, yeah, I've got a second backup squad to kill him.
What if you shot the Vickers K people first, and then you could move him in? You could move your SMG probably into point blank at that point, and you'd be hitting much better. Because SMGs basically hit on 4s, so they hit on 2s. So that's why I was suggesting, telling you how to beat me, that you go with the Vickers K blokes first.
Yeah, I mean.
But you do you. That's just that's like my opinion, man.
I mean, is this 12 inches? Could you? I mean, they've already been on these.
They've already been.
But if it goes to another turn,
you get a chance to kill them.
Well, that is true. Well, let's do the order test and see if I can kill you with the Vickers team.
Right.
First.
Go for it. 1 pin order. Oh, you're fine. No matter what you get, you're fine. That was a 3 and a 1.
So 3.
So you're gonna light me up now. I am just going to have to wear it. I'm just going to have to wear it. I mean, if I go down and it ends, then that's it. And I think you still get me if I went down, because you're going to be hitting me on 5s. Yeah, you're definitely going to get him anyway.
So I'm hitting you on 4s, because you're a small team.
Oh, yes. 4s. I'm just going to take it. So have you lost any loaders there?
I've lost 1.
A loader. So you've got to roll these one at a time. So one of these is going to hit me on 4s, and one of these is going to hit me on 5s.
So the one hitting you on 5s first.
And on 5s first. He's got a hit.
That's one hit.
And then you've got
another 5 here.
Hit on 4s. That's another 3 hits. That's very good.
Cool.
So come here now. Come on.
Ready now?
Come on. Ah, he's very, very dead.
He's very dead.
He's very. Do you want to pick? Go on then. Give me Hans. Hans, the heroic here Grenadier. You've got to remember who that one was. It's this guy. There you go, guys. Right, there we go. You can go in the dead pile. There we go. Right.
Cool.
Right, I think that's pretty much it, isn't it? There's probably a few smatterings.
Yeah.
You've probably got a Vickers K team and stuff, so we shouldn't.
Another German dice for you.
The Germans, I really don't have a huge amount that matters, to be honest. So I'll do a run here for the sake of it. Next dice, I'll move it afterwards in between camera shots.
These guys will attempt to shoot this squad here.
Yep, can't do anything about it. You've got a pin though.
Yep, we'll try and use that pin first.
Pinaroo.
The old Pinaroo.
Yeah.
And they're fine.
And then you've just got 2 Vickers Ks, which will be in half range, but you've lost your loaders, so it's 10 shots hitting on 4s, because I'm definitely out in the open from there. No, I'm going to get in the hut. No, it doesn't matter. Definitely out in the open.
There we go.
Here we go. Oof. 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 And that's, I think, officially fruity. Alright, here we go. Right, 4s. 3. So no. So 3. So he doesn't get to pick. So I'll pick the 2 riflemen and an STG. I've lost half my squad in one go, so I've got to do the old leadership check, and they're okay. These Germans are hardcore, man. Like normally I have fair leadership checks because normally I take inexperienced Volksgrenadiers, and the moment that a few of them die, they poo themselves or they become hardcore, but normally poo themselves. Right, there we go.
One.
What's left? Anything of consequence?
Another British
Naval Observer off Reggie.
Reggie's gonna move up.
Get a few pins on the Hanomag. You could assault it next turn.
Could do.
For King George.
Oh,
it's not the Queen in this day and age. It's King George.
I mean, you could do come on his side.
You can't hurt it.
I mean,
you can put a pin on it,
isn't it? Yeah.
You can put a pin on it, and then if you get the
could assault you.
If you get a next turn, if you get an early dice and I haven't moved, you could assault me.
If there is a next turn.
If there's a next turn. So are you doing a run?
I'm just going to run at you, yeah.
For King George! Tally ho! Best bit about playing British is you can just say stupid things. I'm going to fire. Screw your King George. There we go. Fire the MG. I hadn't actually thought about that, but... So I'm going through the light cover, and you're a small team, and it's half range, so it's 6s, and I get nothing. There you go.
Ideal.
See? This is what you should have been doing the whole game, just running at machine guns and just making them panic. That's what the manual tells them. They don't like it up them.
He's going to move. He's going to advance round them and then have a little pop.
A little pottius, shottius.
Poppy, if you can.
The Naval Observer. There you go. He's having a great time. Is he in 12?
He loves it.
He loves it. Two little shots.
Two little shotteroos.
What did we even call my guy? It was Hans von Fritzhofen or something. Fritz von Han. I can't remember. It was a very, very German name we gave him.
It's 4 5s.
5s.
Nope.
Adds up to 5, but sadly, it's not a game mechanic in this game.
And the last dice is the German dice for some squad somewhere.
Someone somewhere. Oh, no, it's not. That was Hans's dice. He's dead.
Oh, he's dead.
Right, there we go. So, I think that is all of the dice. So, would you like to roll?
I will.
The dice. So, do you want to clear the German ones away? So on a 4+, it goes on. It does not. That is the end of the game. I'm going to give you a weird left-handed shake, James. That's very, very uncomfortable. That's a good game. Good game. Absolutely fantastic. So the end result, guys, is no one owns anyone's base. So it's just a draw. Straight up draw. which is often the way Demolition either tends to end in a draw, I find, or someone runs Japanese and wins it turn 2. That's how Demolition tends to go. Actually, no, it's not. No, it's a good mission. Actually, I've got about 33% win, 33% loss, and 33% draw rate on it. So it's actually quite a nice balanced mission. But what we'll do, guys, is we'll clear some of the dice up and everything. We'll see what the lay of the land looks like at the end, and then we'll do a quick summary and some final thoughts. So that's it. End of the game. 6 turns of close combat, and it was just a really, really good game. Me and James have spent like an hour off camera just chatting about it and comparing it to 40k and all that kind of good stuff. But in terms of the final result, it is a draw. Neither side was able to demolitionize, blow up the opponent's base, so it ends in just a draw. That's I think it's a really good example of this game of having an army which is mostly regular taking on an army which is mostly veteran. When we actually, when you look at the battlefield, it looks like the Marines have taken a bit of a hammering. They've got the officer over there, and they've got a couple of squads holding out around sort of the middle sort of township area, and you've got the Vickers K units over here. But actually, when we've looked at the casualties, the Germans have actually lost more. I lost 16 men, and James lost 14 men. And the only reason he kept losing dice is because I was picking on units like his sniper, at his Piat team, and then his tank. So I was picking off the little bits, but the main squads, the bulk of the army, actually he only lost one of his big units. For the Germans, obviously, I lost one of my big units as well, and then a lot of my other casualties were relatively scattered. So you obviously had this squad which took a bit of a beating, and you had this squad over here which took a bit of a beating as well. But in terms of final casualties, 14 dead Royal Marine Commandos and 1 Centaur CS. And the Germans lost 16 Grenadiers, all regular. So it was a bit of a brutal game, but this is it. The Marines actually don't start off with a huge amount on the board. They've actually, they've probably still got about half of their army on the field of battle. They just don't start with as much. It's a really good example of how even with, in the face of quite strong German firepower and the Germans having a significant armour advantage, that bot action is balanced enough when you bring two armies, like this, themed but balanced, that the game actually is quite close and can end in a draw or now a loss or now a victory for one side. So it was a really, really fun game. I think it was a really good example of how bot action sort of played out. I mean, the first 3 turns went so quickly, and we took very few casualties, and even at the end, can you imagine coming out of a game of 40k and only having between you 28 casualties and 1 dead vehicle? I lose 28 men from 1 squad in 1 unit shooting phase, in the old 40k. So for us, it was really good. This is why we've been enjoying bot action a lot more, because even with a game like this, which was 6 turns, people were dying from turn 1. The overall casualty rate is relatively low, feels a bit less arcadey, and no one got tabled or anything like that. No one got tabled, and the missions sort of allowed for a lot of movement on the board. Think about where the tank started off, moved over here, came over here. This whole area was quite a war of movement with thrust and counter thrust. The Marines did an early thrust, the Germans did a counter attack over here. The Marines did a push down here. The Marines were on the aggressive from the start. Germans countered, but then kind of got bogged down here. And then over here, likewise, the Germans initially had all their infantry on this flank, and then it all sort of came on here. They made a good push, but it's these flipping Vickers K squads. Sorry, I slipped the tongue there. It's these flipping Vickers K squads. They're just so good at just mowing down infantry. And one of the strongest things I've noticed about action is having a unit of veterans with 2 LMGs is really strong. Every time I encounter it, it's a really hard unit to shift out of a defence position if you don't have HE. And I didn't have a huge amount of HE in this list. It was a relatively more of a DACA list, this one that I had, rather than a list with lots of high explosive in it. So that was the game. I'm sure we made lots of mistakes. I just want to say, if you've noticed anything that we've got wrong in this game, please let us know. We're very much open to criticism and all that kind of stuff. It's the first action battle report that we've done. Did you like the format of pulling dice out and all that kind of stuff? Let us know. If you have any suggestions for what armies you'd like to see, between us, James and I have got a fair few. I've got Germans with a few different units. Like I've got a Flak 88. He's got his Germans. He's got a Tiger for his Germans as well, all leafed up like this one. And then we've got US Marines. We've got a couple of Japs. James has got 8th Army. I've got my Airborne on the way. We've got loads of different armies. So if you've got a suggestion for what kind of sort of main factions you want to see face off against each other, please let us know. One thing I just wanted to ask James before we wrap up is what would you change in this list? Because we've talked often about this tank and how it's nice to have it, but it does take up quite a few points. What would you change in this list if you were running more for just a pure Royal Marine Commando army?
So I think in this list we've used it's the generic reinforced platoon from the main rulebook.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to use theatre selectors, you probably drop the tank. It's a lot of points for what it does. Essentially, it's a medium mortar. Just take that mortar team. Commandos don't have the option really to take anything that's inexperienced. So you're paying for a veteran mortar, but you can use it, or light mortar and then lots more infantry. When we've been practicing or playing before, use lots of five-man teams, and that gives me a lot more dice in the bag, and gives me a lot more option. Then I can, to support. 5 Vickers Ks is a lot to be able to, to bring down between 5 squads. So it's quite a good little way of running these commandos. They're a bit more expensive per man than even just your veteran British infantry. But again, if you're going to get more theatre selectors in it, then it gets more exciting and more niche. And that's definitely something for the future.
Would you, because you've played a few games, you were at the event, which as time of recording this video, I still haven't done a YouTube video on, but it is coming. Trust me, I've got like 100 pictures I've got to use for that event. It's going to be really good. But based on you sort of your time at the event, would you still use things like your sniper? Would you swap your PIAT team out for something else? What would you swap out if you could? If you had infinite choice?
If I had infinite choice, these commandos, that list would get a bazooka. It can't. Looks like it's going to be SAS. We're playing with that. But again, the tank really is fun. It's a niche little tank that not many people sort of have. You just bring the sort of cruiser, the Cromwell, or a Churchill. But yeah, I really enjoy this list. I like the sniper. For that one time that he does pull it off, it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, you had a few units in this list which didn't really. Your sniper didn't perform, your tank didn't do anything, your PIAT so short range.
PIAT is just, it's so satisfying when PIAT goes off because it's such a difficult weapon to use. To get it in range, to hit, to penetrate, to damage, it's a real little bugger. But a bazooka in a British list. Gold standard.
Perfection. I think what I would suggest is it's a Jeep.
Yeah, HMG Jeep or...
No, just for your PIAT.
Yeah.
Because it just goes in the transport slot and it's 25 points. Well, I don't know if it is for a British Jeep, but for my Airborne I can take a veteran Jeep for 25 points, which is really nice. It's another dice in the bag. Yeah, or universal carrier. Yeah, I think these were two very nice normal lists to put against each other. But if we were to tune them up slightly, I think you could definitely take a light mortar team. I'm a big fan of light mortars now. I think they're so cheap and so they help you support your attack. I've gone off medium mortars a little bit. But yeah, I think I've gone off snipers entirely. I haven't used a sniper in probably about 4 or 5 months. I just build lists around it to not care about them. So I either take enough LMGs that I don't care if 1 or 2 get picked out, or I just don't worry about it. Or I take a lot of HE, or I take a tank and a counter deploy, because your snipers are good at killing teams, but they hate it when a tank comes up to them because they can't do anything to it. Yeah. But yeah, I think it was a really, really good game. So I just want to say a massive thank you to James once again. He has been, perfect host. We're at his house, it's his terrain, it's both of his armies. I did bring my bolt action, but the moment I saw his cammed up tanks, I was like, dude, I'm using your Germans. So absolutely fantastic. If you want to see more bolt action content, if you want to see more, of us playing on this table and all that kind of stuff, please let us know down in the comment section below. Give us as much feedback as possible. But we'll wrap that up there. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this game, and we'll see you guys next time.